everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing another Mystery Mystic reading. This is on the disappearance of Samantha Murphy, a 51-year-old mother of three, and she's been missing since February 4th, 2024. And this is after she had failed to return from a 7 a.m. run at a nearby regional park just southeast of Ballarat, Victoria. The last data from her cell phone Apple Watch stopped at the Canadian State Forest near Mount Clear. And here's the thing, Samantha loves running. I mean, she was doing a 10 to 15 kilometer jog like on the daily, like this was a normal thing for her. And she was also preparing for a 21 kilometer like fun run, like I guess you call a marathon or something like that. Samantha had her iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods with her from what I can gather in the 60 Minutes Australia. I think it's a UI, or I think it's under investigations. I can't remember what the UI stands for the video I watch. I try not to gain any more than that. I didn't want to read like a bunch of articles, a bunch of theories. I just want to see what comes up in the cards. So she was due back at 11 a.m. to attend like a family event or function. And when she didn't show up to it, her husband reported her missing to the police. And they've been searching, but they had to call off the searches, right? Because of really bad conditions, weather conditions, we got factory weather conditions, bushfires. So when we're pulling these cards, what we're looking for is to see if there's clues surrounding what may have happened to her, clues on, let's see, on how to find her, what may have been a motive and who's responsible, characteristics or traits of the perps, and if Spirit sees fit to share her state of being. And what's next in the investigation, and when might the next big thing happen that moves the investigation along. Okay. I'll zoom in just a moment to show you all the cards. So they're really little, so. I know some people are like, you know, shield. It's pretty, not some people, it stands to reason that she may have been met with foul play because the data just abruptly stops. And so that tells the authorities that she didn't just, you know, fall or have a medical episode. Something happened to her, so the devices were destroyed. Okay. All right, so we have our cards here. Now I'm going to zoom in so you all can see I'm up close. Okay, here we go. Factory. Now, this can denote a couple of things. It can, when it comes up, it can be representing that it's that who may be responsible is someone she's worked with or does work with. It can represent also like a location. Maybe, I don't know, like some kind of industrious building, that she could have been taken to, or maybe, you know, I know that her and her husband own a, we called it in the States, like a auto collision repair facility. I think they call it a smash facility, like smash car facility in Australia. But she may have known this person or been an acquaintance because of past work relationships, or current work relationships, or this card can literally sometimes, when it comes up in past readings, it can demonstrate like nearby structures or buildings of where she may be near or where she may be located in. I want to say the last case I did out of Australia was my very first Mystery Mystic reading back when Cleo Smith went missing, and this card came up. And those little cabins will always be etched in my mind, like how they looked, like just this little spot right here. And the person who took Cleo was from what looked like it looked like places where people live, but it looked industrious to me. I don't know. It just looked different. But nevertheless, back to Samantha. That is just one example of many times when this card comes up. The ways it comes up is it's someone she worked with, or it's literally a physical representation of somewhere near her, or she's near, or inside. Door. The reason why I think that it is someone that she may have had some encounters with is because of this door, like either opening a door to this person or closing a door to this person. And maybe somebody not feeling great or they felt a way about this door being open or closed. I'm getting the sense maybe this door was closed. Okay. Some of choices related to work matters or business matters, or, that's what I'm sensing here. We have here antidote, a welcome remedy to a toxic problem, a cure, a balancing force against negativity. So what is that balancing force? It is closing the door to something going on at work or related to her business, or closing the door because this needed to happen because of a welcome remedy to a toxic problem, a cure, a balancing force against negativity, trying to gain peace here. Was she going through? And so I'm curious about her business, like her business. I don't know if she has other businesses or other things that she manages or leads in her life, even if it's like on a volunteer basis. But I'm getting a sense of it where she's industrious, and that would be probably most likely her work. And I'd like to know more about if there was something going on, if law enforcement's really been honing in about dealings with her work. Okay. All right, let's go on to feather. Spiritual ascension is one of the key meanings. And for me, when I see this card, I think of peace. This also can say, like, there was a brief moment of peace. You know how, like, a feather kind of briefly for a while it suspends in air until it finally lands. And where it lands may not always be a great place, right? It may be in muddy water. You thought you had peace and now you don't. Now you have a muddy situation, something like that. But it can represent, spiritual ascension can represent a state of being, is what I'll say. And I'll stop there. And you all who have been watching me for a while know what I mean by that. And I'm so sorry for her family, for her friends, for the community, for all that are affected by her disappearance. I am so sorry. Okay, stick. Now this is interesting. Now we're getting somewhere in terms of perhaps a clue on what may have happened And look, stick is next to the girl card. Okay. If you all are new to my channel or new to my reading style, I do also, I explain the cards because I'm also teaching and trying to inform those who are learning how to read cards in this way. And then I like to invite you all to give me your intuitive hits. If you did readings, share what you've come up with. Share your videos if you recorded videos. I like to keep talking about the case. Keep it up in the algorithms so that way there's a pressure applied to the authorities to keep looking, to keep searching. Okay? So stick. Branching out on your own. Was there some sort of like situation where somebody was branching out on their own? Maybe a merge that was going to happen but didn't. Maybe, someone did separate, leave. They branched out on their own. And there's something with that. The stick can be symbolizing that. However, oftentimes this card comes up, especially next to like a significator like this girl card, stick and girl. It can be that there's some form of abuse, some form of striking someone, hitting someone, maybe across the head. I'm picking up on to subdue. One of the key words is maybe a representation of power or abuse, right? Then when the girl card or the boy card comes up in a reading or any other personification cards, it tells me it's usually speaking about someone. Yes, it can speak to key meanings like innocence and carefree thoughts, youthful emotions. I really get a sense that maybe she didn't realize she was under attack or under threat, and this is something that's been in the works, in the making. You know how it takes sometimes a while to come up with a proper cure? This is feeling like something that was brewing, is what I'm sensing with that card, okay? Something she needed protection from. She didn't even probably realize, because one of the key meanings to the girl card is carefree thoughts. She had no idea that she didn't understand the gravity. I can think of other cases where that has happened and it just breaks my heart. But then again, it's like, she's not wrong for moving the way she needed to move with whatever this situation is that's stemming out of her work. And don't worry, this is going to be a very layered oracle reading. And I'm thinking about doing a tarot reading as well. I've already started formulating questions just based on just my intuition on what to ask. But we're going to be going deeper and deeper and deeper. All right, so girl, we got that. And then we've got this shield card. Protection or preservation, isolation, a defensive barrier. Now this could mean protection or preservation, someone hiding her. And the thing is, these cards can have multiple meanings and touch upon multiple things. Protection or preservation, isolation, a defensive barrier. The girl is protected, preserved, isolated behind a defensive barrier. This also can be, metaphorically speaking, that she needed that protection. This toxic situation was a little still too toxic. And then flower. Kindness, gifts, beauty, blossoming potential, blossoming abilities, like pure heart. Her having a pure heart, but somebody not so much at all. Depraved. All right, I'm going to pause here and be right back. We're going to work with another deck. Right, so now we're going to work with the Divine Shadow Self-Oracle. Spirit, what were some of the energies, lower vibrational energies we're we dealing with? We've got the card Grudge, Manipulation, okay, Brutality. Remember, oh, I got chills. Remember how I said, what I said about the stick card? Depraved. Betrayal. Coercion. And regret. My throat. Sorry, you all. My throat just got all like, okay. Grudge. Someone either felt like she had a grudge or was, holding a grudge is what I'm sensing. A grudge towards her. And the grudge is surrounding either a sense of feeling betrayed by some kind of decision she's made or choice, or that she's manipulating something, or that they're trying to manipulate something into their favor and it didn't quite pan out the way they thought it would. So this grudge exploded and now we have brutality. One of the things that struck me is when I watched this 60 Minutes Australia program, the UI program, is I think I watched it there where they said that someone in the crowd could be like who's searching for her, from her local community, could be there in the mix. And we know that happens if you follow true crime. That does happen. That is a phenomenon. But it made me ill because this feels like people, if they knew how much this grudge was to this person, they might be sickened too by it. They might be like, this feels so ill to me. Like, you're supposed to be for her, and you did this, or this, and you're a part of this, and it's just yuck. I'm going to say this. I know I'm picking up on things in the reading, but I do have to say sometimes as a human being, I just have to say I want her to be found. I'm hoping that it is a situation like Cleo Smith, where maybe she is kidnapped and being held, but I have to tell you some things. I have to share that I did a pre-reading, and I'm just going to leave it there. This feather card affirms something for me. I don't pick up on a life force. Doesn't mean that she's not with us. And I'm a prayerful person, right? However, I know what I saw. I did some remote viewing before. I know what I saw with regards to what was in the pre-reading and in the feather about her state of being. And I'll just leave it at that, to be respectful. Betrayal, coercion. This is what I was saying. We've got manipulation and coercion. There's going to later down the line, for those who continue to follow this case, you may hear about some element of coercion or manipulation going on. Now, manipulation also could be about already this case has picked up a lot of steam. And so people may be coming up with all manipulating stories, manufacturing stuff. So we have to be very careful about what we're getting, the sources that we're getting information from related to her case. But coercion could also be dealing with somebody trying to coerce her to do something, coerce someone close to her, or she knows about some sense of coercion or manipulation. Somebody feeling betrayed, regret. Now, this could be about her regrets. Sometimes I pick up on the regrets of those who crossover. Sometimes this regret is just speaking to like she's still with us, but she regrets that her family is going through this, or it could be that she's not with us, and I'm sensing it's more like that, and she's still regretful about all of this that transpired. Regret also can be stemming from loved ones close to her husband, you know. It could be the perp or perps. We'll see if Spirit reveals how many people are involved with her disappearance. But it could be someone close to the situation holds a lot of regret. All right, I'll pause here. Okay, so now let's just pull a few, 1 to 3 of these cards to see what Spirit wants to share. Let's see. Perpetrator has behavioral patterns of a S-killer. Ooh. And the thing is, like, she may have had a working past with him. Like, ugh. This case will remain unsolved until key evidence is discovered. Now, I know that can be a scary card because it can denote like, oh, it might go cold, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. Sometimes it'll be like the one clue that cracks it wide open, and that could happen in a month from now, or 2 months from now, or even tomorrow, right? So, yes, it does. It kind of makes you a little like, oh, I hope it's not something that just remains unsolved indefinitely. But there's going to be something that cracks the case wide open. Maybe through profiling. Illegal activities played a role. Okay. So now, sometimes somebody who takes out other people's lives is because they feel like they can do that. Like, it's not, you know, there's Ted Bundy. Like, he got off on taking lots of women's lives. This feels different. This feels like this person would and can take people's lives, but it doesn't feel necessarily like Ted Bundy-ish, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to say it. This case will remain unsolved until key evidence is discovered. We talked about that one. And then illegal activities played a role. So again, something going on over here, perhaps surrounding the work situation. And maybe she wasn't going to go for it and not tolerating it, not realizing that somebody's felt threatened by that and had to do something about it because they are okay and comfortable with doing something like this, taking somebody's life. Or taking this person away from her loved ones. This person who did this is depraved. They have no feelings around that. So sometimes when these cards come up, it's just telling us that this is not someone who's like, you know, that you, I don't know. It's a scary thing because it's like this person, if you wrong them, they feel the need to do something. Even if it's a slight or a wrong that you really, like, it's not really wrong per se, but in their mind, it feels like a wrong. That's what I pick up on. Okay. All right, so now we're going to work with my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. And I'm going to break it up in sections. Spirit, let me get her picture going. I want to look at it again. Okay. What can you share? Clues? What may have happened? And I also get a sense that the person or persons responsible, oh my God, look at this. The person or persons responsible didn't realize just how much world attention that she was going to get is what I'm picking up on here. So let me show you so far what we've got. Human trafficking, life insurance or inheritance, suffocation, organized crime or gang. Okay. Nothing to lose. Breaking and or entering a burglary. I wonder if she's had to deal with that in the past. Someone doing that or threatening to do that. Or, you know, maybe also somebody wearing covered up like this. I don't know. It was hot though, I heard, out there, you know, with the bushfires and everything. So I don't know. Collapse or ruin. Social media. Okay. Something about social media. Party or social gathering. Pull a few more. Flight risk. Outside. Vehicle transportation. Stalker. I think you can see those. We'll pull 3 more, Spirit. Thank you. Sun. Paperwork or paper trail. Okay. Got them all in reverse and whatnot. And one more. Let's see. Motive, jealousy. That's interesting. Okay. All right, we got a lot of cards on the table, so let's get through them. Let's get through them. All right, so I'm going to bring the cards up to you. So first off, we've got the human trafficking one. And I mean, sometimes this card can just come up when a person is moved from one place to another or move, you know, with the intent in mind to earn something as a result of moving her or trafficking her or doing something to that effect. But sometimes this card just simply comes up because it's about moving a human being from one point to the next point A to point B. Okay. Life insurance or inheritance. People speculating or looking at that, or looking at who stood to gain, looking at financials, just combing through stuff. This may be just that you may hear something about looking at that information, and then it has nothing to do later on down the line. It could just be that. But it also doesn't have to just be dealing with life insurance. There's 2 things here. Life insurance. Well, let me say this. Life insurance or inheritance. When does a life insurance or inheritance trigger? It triggers when someone has passed on, right? So that could be also a signal from spirit saying, this is what we're facing here, kind of preparing us in a way. The other thing is inheritance denotes some kind of monetary value, some money. Okay, we have suffocation. This could be about a literal suffocation. That's probably earlier why I was like, I was having a hard time with airflow in my throat. And sometimes that's just symbolizing what maybe she was going through. And suffocation could be about a physical suffocation. It also could be about suffocating the truth, or trying to squelch the truth, or trying to suffocate, or having people talk about things I don't know. Could be something along those lines. Could be ultimately what her losing her breath, not able to, like somebody forcibly doing that to her. Organized crime or gang, that's interesting. So it is denoting either A, the person is part of an organized crime, or, what do you call it? Crime net? I don't know what you call it. Or affiliated, like the person could just be affiliated with a gang or part of organized crime, or it could be a network of people involved. And I think I might pose that as like, is it gonna, like for the tarot reading that I'll do later on the line, is this involving multiple people? I do have in the deck, I have cards that say alone or two or more people. I find it interesting that it's like, oh, this might be running deeper than you think. Also, again, I have to emphasize it could be just somebody with ties to an organized crime family or gang or something like that. I don't know. Nothing to lose. This person who is responsible ultimately felt like they have nothing to lose in doing this to her. Like going all the way, like they have nothing, where they feel like she has value. Breaking and entering, stealing what doesn't belong to you. And like I said, maybe we hear something later about her dealing with that in the past, or evidence coming out later of her having to deal with that, maybe with multiple people over time. I don't know, and like finding out that it's tied to something else that's tied to her disappearance. Could be something like that. Collapse or ruin. Collapse or ruin. And that could, again, sometimes spirit just kind of delicately leads us down the path of what may have happened to her. Collapse or ruin. Collapsed lungs, collapsed, God forbid, ruin. It could be symbolic or metaphorical, but like somebody who had nothing to lose, this is they are at full collapse mode. Or it could be that they wanted a collapse for her, a ruin. Now maybe social media might be starting to reveal more and more about this connection, maybe, okay? Or maybe later on down the line we hear about somebody close to her feeling like they had nothing to lose. I don't know. It's interesting to me with social media. This also simply could speak to what I was talking to you all about earlier, about being very careful with this case on where you source your information, because it seemingly just disappeared out of thin air. Many theories abound, right? So you have to just make sure you're vetting your information and being respectful to the family and those who love her. But also social media may be holding a lot of clues as to these connections or as to someone's footsteps. You know how like Facebook, and when you have to allow them to follow you and track you, something along those lines perhaps. Messages, DMs and things of that nature, comments, people paying close attention to the comment section. I don't know. So yeah. Do with that what you may. We have party or social gathering. Perhaps somebody was going to be at a social gathering she was supposed to be at, or they partied together, or they socially gathered together, or they're in their social circle, or maybe there's pictures of her with with the purpose all the way in the background. I don't know, and she's at a social gathering. Could be that. Or this simply could just speak to she was acquainted with or knows, and maybe this is why this person, why it makes it even a little bit more sinister. Although it could be just that maybe they worked together briefly, or they worked for her, or she worked with them, and it's more like an acquaintance situation. But I feel like this card is like kind of saying, I think it's more than that. I could be wrong with this, and you all let me know what you think this card is referring to, or even the organized crime or gang one. Flight risk, this is a concern with this case, so just be mindful and wary of that. There could be a flight risk with the perp or perps. They might have the means, the access to hit the road and skedaddle. So time is of the essence with finding her and finding them. Outside just could simply be a clue that she's out, out and about in the elements near that factory area. That could be one example. Or key evidence outside, or will be found outside, or just outside of where she may be found, just outside of where they're looking, the search team. I don't know. It says outside, outdoors. Vehicle transportation, she's being transported to and from, moving to there, like we said here earlier. How was she moved? How did this happen? And I can see why they think multiple people may have been involved or complicit, willingly, unwittingly. They may be complicit in helping. And the reason why she's able to just disappear, aside from, I guess, going down a mine shaft, they said, and we'll see if that's the case. We'll ask for clues on where she may be in the upcoming readings. I have to break these up because it's so many layers. So this is part 1. I'm going to pause after this section and go into part 2 of the detailed oracle reading. And then from there, I'm going to ask some questions, because I'm already thinking of more questions to ask, like how many people, is she even in the area, or is she out of the area? Just trying to get some clues on what's going on there. But I like to get an overview of what we're dealing with here. Vehicle transportation. That's how she was able to get out of, to not be physically there. Stalker, someone stalking her or stalking her movements even just that morning. But I get a sense that this feels longer than that. This feels longer, like they have been stalking for a while, this person. Stalking her moves, stalking, knowing that she's a creature of habit, knowing her paths, knowing that she would be there at that time. This is why it's interesting to me. I wonder if it was really just strategically planned, or if this person, the perp, just happens to okay, I know she might be running on Sunday, but it's so interesting how it's timed. It's supposed to be before she goes to the family event. I don't know what the family event is, but that's interesting to me. I don't know. Sun can sometimes just denote a male as a main perp. It could be somebody's son who's involved, a father who's maybe too involved or too protective of a son. It could be a father-son situation, or with the gang, organized crime or gang situation going on up here. It could be how gang members are like, this is my family, and somebody feeling like they are beholden to a parental figure. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it could mean multiple things at the same time, or one or two things. Paperwork or paper trail. Okay. There's a paperwork or paper trail. And I think it's with her records. Maybe it's also can speak to the police records, but I think it's to her records. Like her bookkeeping records and her filings and things of that nature. Or that this may be, the law enforcement has to sort through a lot of paperwork or follow a paper trail to really help crack or build up a case to find her and find out what happened. Motive, jealousy. Interesting, right? Isn't that an interesting motive? I'm jealous. That ties in with the grudge. That ties in with who's jealous? I don't think it's her jealous. I think somebody could be jealous of her, of what she has, or just jealous that, she's a happy mom living her life. I don't know. If somebody's jealous. Could be that. So friends, we're going to pause here. This is a lot coming at us. I am going to take pictures of all the spreads we've got here, pause, and then move on to the remaining part of the oracle reading I want to do, which is going to explore defining characteristics of those who may be involved, then particular like spaces and places, clues on where she may be or where she may have encountered the perps, and maybe physical markers with this deck. So, and in this deck too. This is a big chunker. So we've got a lot to dig into, but if I'm hoping you're starting to see themes, I don't always get to see the themes until I replay and edit the video later and watch it and be like, oh, okay. So it's always helpful to hear from you in the comments section on what you pick up on, what's coming up for you. Do me a favor on your way out, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right, friends, I'll see you all in a little bit. Bye for now.